Railgun T, the third season of a certain magical railgun, was one of the many anime interrupted by the COVID pandemic last year. When Tokyo's quasi-lockdown began, a lot of voice actor recordings had to be rescheduled and postponed. This hit Railgun T around episode 13, which was 2 episodes away from the last episode of the first arc, and despite that killing a lot of the viewing momentum that I had going through this first arc, it still turned out to be my favorite arc of all of Railgun and all of the whole Raildexelerator franchise so far. Let's start out by talking about Shokuhou Misaki, who is the perfect foil to Misaka. I remembered seeing her at the very beginning of Season 2 and thinking to myself, she seems like a really interesting character. I can't wait to see what they do with her this season, and then she didn't appear for the whole rest of Season 2. But thankfully she is all over the place in Season 3 and it is glorious. This girl is the exact opposite of Misaka in so many ways, and I love the way she gets under Misaka's skin. Misaka, of course, had a great season in her own right, and I've said this before, but it bears repeating. Misaka is a much better character in Railgun than Index. In Index, she's just some kind of tsundere stereotype, but in Railgun, she's really fleshed out, and it makes her a much more interesting and compelling character overall. A lot of the side characters also got some good development and some good action scenes in Railgun T as well. This is one of the draws of Railgun. They can move a lot slower than Index, and with that, they can develop a lot of these side characters, but at the same time, they still move quickly enough to get in a lot of good action scenes. This first arc in particular was really good at that. They involved a lot of side characters, got a lot of good fights in, they got some screen time not just for Shokuhou, but another level 5 as well, so 2 new level 5s are coming into the picture here. Kamijo Toma also showed up, and his involvement isn't always a guarantee in Railgun, but he was really funny in this first arc. We saw Kuroko getting her memory altered, but even that couldn't defeat her lesbian instincts. Misaka's mom even showed up. This arc had everything. It's really a shame that the COVID postponements had to get in the way. Then when the second arc started airing, I didn't want to get hit with potential postponements again, so I decided to wait until it all came out before watching it. This whole Indian poker arc started out as a really good comedy arc, but I knew eventually it was going to have to get serious, and I didn't want to see that so quickly, so I decided to watch this slowly and prolong the comedy as long as I could. Once things did get serious, it turned into your typical Railgun arc. You know, something that's still kind of fun to watch, but at the same time, it still feels very much like a side arc. And that's the one downside of Railgun compared to Index. You know that everything that happens in Railgun is basically a side story, and so it's just going to be less consequential. Anyway, it's a very good season overall. I would say it is the best one so far, and I do hope we get a 4th season, a Railgun F, someday.